Morning light, we bloom again. From the deep we rise within. Down below, then we ascend. Lotus heart, lotus heart, lotus heart, we bloom again.
Welcome back to Bloom. Be loving to ourselves and others more. I promised you that I had some wonderful ladies that will be joining me. I hope you had a chance to see the introductory podcast where we talked with Gloria, and Gloria gave you all of my background, both the good, the bad, and the ugly. So you know who I am, but you'll get to know me more, and you'll get to know me as I connect and share our experiences. I shared with you that sometimes Bloom is as many as 20 ladies. At some points, it's been larger depending on what the topic is. But you're going to get a chance to meet some of the special ladies of Bloom today. We're just going to share with you some of the things that we discuss when we're together. You can also go to my website, drdarlene.net, and at the end, I'll tell you even more. You can go and look at all of the social media that will have the previous broadcast of the podcast. But today, again, I want to welcome three beautiful ladies. To my right, I have Roxanne, and over here, I have Sally, and I have Erica. And they are consistent members of our Bloom group, and we've been meeting for a little bit over a year or so now. And so I just want to start with some of the topics. What are some of the topics that we've covered, ladies?
Definitely women's empowerment.
Women's empowerment. Yes. Trauma. Yes. Friendships with women that can get complicated. Yeah.
Mental health.
Mental health in general.
Mm-hmm.
So
relationships.
Relationships. Yeah. Yes. Relationships, especially with men and navigating the communication. Even earlier today, I have two wonderful men who help with this. They film it for us. And I was a little bit confused and I got a little irritated. And I said, you know what? The Bloom ladies, I talked to them about assertiveness. Am I modeling that? Because assertiveness is when you express your thoughts and feelings in a direct way, but you're respectful of the other person's thoughts and feelings. So it's okay for me to say, I'm irritated, I'm frustrated, but I need to do that with an exchange where the other person can also share their thoughts and feelings and explain to me why we may have a difference in our perception. Aggression is, didn't I say not to do it that way? Nobody ever does that, right? You've never, ever been
Not
aggressive.
me.
No, we don't do that. But passive, right? Yeah, not any of us in here. But passive is when we internalize and we don't share our thoughts and feelings. And then we end up with ulcers or high blood pressure because we're holding it in. So we don't want to be passive either. Passive aggressive would be if I went and I said, you know, those two guys, they really got on my nerve today. I'm not talking directly to them. That's disrespectful. If we have an issue with somebody, especially somebody that we care about, we want to go directly to that person. And that's what God calls us to do, to communicate with each other. And sometimes it requires forgiveness. I might have to say, after this, I might have to go and say, guys, please forgive me if I was too irritated. And so that's how we communicate. And in our Bloom group, we're empowered to do that with each other. One of you mentioned the way that we learn about each other is blind spots. Who said that?
I did. Jahari's window.
Yeah. Want to tell them a little bit about Jahari's window?
We did an exercise of all of us together where we all had a sheet of paper to give feedback to one another, all about our blind spots and seeing things about ourselves that we might not realize on our own. I found it to be very enlightening.
Yeah. And that's how we learn. And as the group, we've developed more trust with each other. We've been more vulnerable. We have more cohesiveness to really disclose and share those kind of things. So if one person says to you, you know what? I think sometimes you're very passive aggressive. You can reflect on it and consider it. But if 4 or 5 people that you love tell you the same feedback, then you want to self-reflect and look at, is that a blind spot? Is that something that you don't see about yourself? So, ladies, what are some of the things that you shared that were challenging for you, that we've worked on healing in the group?
Well, I've shared about my trauma. I have been diagnosed with MS as well as recently diagnosed with cancer, and that was an opportunity to share all that I went through. I'm not a very emotional or communicative person, so this definitely gave me an opportunity to release, so to speak. Yes, the ups and downs with regard to getting through the diagnosis, specifically cancer. I was diagnosed with MS in 97, so I've managed that wonderfully. I'm good. I feel fine about that diagnosis or living with that. But the cancer diagnosis, that was a little bit more of a struggle, and this group came at the perfect time for me to learn how to talk and relate and share so that others can learn from my experience.
You empowered us and you inspire us, Erica. You know, when I first meet somebody that walks into my office, I do my little intake, and part of my intake is the appearance. And so well-dressed, beautiful, loving smile, healthy, fit. And so, you know, even I can misperceive. You know, I would maybe even in my countertransference, which means when the therapist is feeling something that they're going through about the patient, I was like, wow, she must really work out. I should work out more. So that may be going on in my head. And then when Erica so courageously told me her story, talk about being inspired, her strength, her resiliency, her ability to say, I'm going to push through this and I'm going to look even better. I'm going to do everything that I can to stay healthy. Anybody would be inspired by her story. And I commend you. And yes, you've grown in our group.
Thank you.
Because she's more talkative, more communicative. And even occasionally we see more of you emoting. Because sometimes we don't share our feelings and it's hard to be vulnerable. And learning that vulnerability is really a sign of strength. Sometimes we think, oh, if I cry, if I show my emotions, that somebody's going to think I'm weak. And then all the stigmas around that. But really, it's a sign of strength to be able to be vulnerable and to cry and to share your feelings. So I've observed you do that tremendously in our group.
I'm learning.
You are. We all are, including me. We're all, you know, we're all growing. None of us, it's not about a destination. We never get to a place where we say, okay, now I have it all together. I know I don't. It's a constant journey. It's not a destination. So
She's even learned how to be affectionate.
Yes,
Giving
that's
hugs, 'cause
right.
when we first joined the group,
Yes.
she was not a hugger in the beginning of the group, but I was.
Well,
Yes.
Roxanne won't let anybody not be a hugger. She's like me, very very affectionate.
Right?
Yes, touchy-feely and gotta feel and give that hug of love. And for me as a therapist, the ladies have empowered me to be able to express agape love. You know, sometimes we have these boundaries up as a therapist, but I can tell these ladies with authority that I love them. And it's a lot of agape love in our room. And I appreciate that from you too, taking the initiative to give those hugs that you give.
Well, I think that it's big because a lot of times a group shares what by the leader, you know, so you showed us how to love each other. And as a women's group, with so many different personalities, I feel like we have become sisters, and I feel like we say I love you to each other, and we've learned to love each other, you know, with our differences, and I think that's great. But that starts from you. Yes. You know, that starts from you.
I appreciate that feedback, and it's how I live my life. And one of the things that I love about the group too is the diversity. You know, as Black women, we go through our unique challenges, and we talk about those in front of our white sisters. And we learn from each other. We learn about each other's backgrounds and cultures, and not just race. We learn about Haitian and Jamaican and different cultures, Trinidad.
Yes.
So it's a group that's very much open to our differences and also our commonalities. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what I love about the group, because I was a late bloomer, so I came late to the group, but I was grateful that everybody accepted me in, and that was really, really nice.
Yeah, and I think that's something where I have to use my discernment. I work with people individually, and then we have the women's group. And sometimes the individual work needs to happen first before somebody is comfortable in a group situation. So I let the person make that decision too, along with me. So what are some of the other topics or challenges that we've talked about in the group? Even if it's not any that we ourselves have gone through, what is some of the depth of topics that we've talked about.
Marcia did a great session on money and budgeting,
Yes.
sharing her own
Yes.
experience of
Yes.
mistakes that she's
Yes.
made and how she's overcome them, and got everybody a nice little budget planner that I still use.
Yes, and I think we as women have to really be empowered in that area of how to manage our finances and how to budget. And what I love about the disclosure and the sharing in the group is that, people have talked about that they were bankrupt or that they, maxed up their credit cards and had problems with that. So it's looking at the inspiration is seeing how somebody was able to come out of that and grow from it. So out of adversity and a challenge can come an opportunity for growth. So yes, I really appreciated that particular.
And we love the fact that she was able to share her experience to encourage other people to see how they can get out of financial situations. So that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also looking forward, it's also a point to look forward to the upcoming, I'm not sure if it's the next one or a future discussion about menopause
Oh,
and perimenopausal situations, which is, there's so much that you don't know. And it's a great opportunity.
One thing about Asian is nice to be on the other side of
Yeah.
it because you're absolutely right. It is an adjustment with the personal summers that we go through. And we as women don't talk about it enough to
Yes.
normalize it. And even talking about it with men so they understand the
Very true.
cycles that we go through as women. And I know Sally has found some wonderful resources. And because of Sally, I've been able to share it with other women who are going through perimenopause to menopause and postmenopause. There's different experiences that we go through. And not everybody goes through it the same, but to be able to talk about it and be affirmed is so important.
Yes. Electra Health, ELEKTRA, Electra Health. I'm not getting paid by them. This is not a paid sponsorship. I've had a tremendous experience with them and will tell any and every pre, mid, and postmenopausal woman that I know about this service. It's been a great help to me through my menopausal journey.
Yes.
I can't wait for that session.
Yes.
Because I currently am, I guess it might be perimenopause because I'm definitely having some hot flashes. And then the mood swings,
But we're here for you. We're always here for you. Yes.
Thank you.
We understand. Yes. So those have been the various topics. We've also talked about really serious trauma issues. We've talked about rape. We've talked about domestic violence. We've talked about, things that not only are traumatic from the past because the body keeps score, but how they impact people in the present. And then how to heal from it and recognize when you're triggered, and when you're triggered, how to navigate it. So there's the identification of the challenges that we all go through. And then there's the healing process and some of the ways that we can work on working through whatever the challenge may be.
We've also gone down other routes. For example, the Reiki or astrology. It was one other I'm forgetting right now, but maybe you want to speak on the Reiki.
Sure. I am a Reiki master practitioner. And one of the first, I think it was our second Bloom session, actually, I raised my hand and offered to give everybody a Reiki healing. Reiki is the channeling of energy for the greatest good of healing for each individual, including the practitioner. We put on some very relaxing music. Everyone just sort of sat back and chilled in their seats. And I gave everybody in the room some individual Reiki and Reiki'd the whole room. And it was an eye-opening experience for a couple of people. And I've had them as recurring clients ever since.
It's a wonderful form of just being able to come to a better place of peace. Really inner peace and learning, we call it locus of control, that we can manage our emotions. We can have emotional regulation. Things outside of us don't necessarily have to impact us. We make a choice sometimes of how something impacts us. And as you said, we also had somebody present on astrology. I'm not very familiar with it. And so, you take what fits for you. My son came in and he did something. He has his own form called martial asana, where he combines sound bowls and music with playing the sounds with yoga and martial arts. And the yin and the yang I love, because the controlled aggression of martial arts with the relaxation and the stretching and the peace of yoga. So we've come up with different forms and modalities to help us with coping and helping us to navigate things. We've also talked about grief and bereavement. What are the stages of it? All of us have experienced loss, and how do we cope when we have loss? We've also had really interesting topics like, how do you differentiate between sex and making love? And how does that, all the heads nodding, okay.
Well, I remember that.
I think you're going to drop
We
that
had one more, but I'll leave that out. The
like,
difference between sex, making love, and fill it in. And so, and just being able to share our experiences and helping to be assertive again and empowering to talk to men and letting them know, what pleases us and what we'd like. And that was a really interesting and fascinating and growth-producing conversation.
A lot of giggles.
A lot of giggles.
A lot of giggles.
Yes. And I learned a few things, too, from you guys. So it was excellent. But being able to have those kind of conversations, because it's all about, again, going back to communication and being able to be transparent and our true selves, our authentic selves in the way we communicate. And it all, again, comes back to being loving of ourselves so that we can be loving of others more. That's the thread that runs throughout the assertiveness, the empowerment, the communication styles.
Actually, in that segment, I did learn a lot from Janet. I learned that when my husband is trying to come on to me at the door when I'm leaving the house, I just have to say, "Not now, honey, later." So we learned a lot from that segment.
Give him a rain check. Yeah, but it's true, though, because when we don't say it in a way that's loving, it could be misperceived as rejection. And it causes distance, especially in a relationship. So to be able to say the rain check, to be able to say, I don't appreciate it when you come at me, grabbing on me, and we haven't even had a conversation. So emotional intimacy is so important to help men understand what turns us on, what makes us want to be more physically intimate. So having those conversations openly with us as women to be able to practice how we want to present it, how we want to express it to the men in our lives. Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that, excuse me, I'm a little hoarse.
That's okay.
The fact that even beyond our meetings, that we have such a close-knit relationship, a lot of support, and the going on to the physical side, the impression that I like to work out and that kind of thing, which doesn't happen not nearly enough, but the fun.
Yes.
Tennis, double dutch,
boots
yoga.
on the ground.
Yeah, boots
Yes.
on the ground. Yeah.
Yes. We've had our outings that really enhance holistic health. They're all interconnected, mind, body, and spirit. Roxanne has prayed beautifully with us, and those of us who may not be as religious may be spiritual. So all of us getting in touch with our spirits, getting in touch with our faith, getting in touch with being able to lean on that when we're going through challenges. And, as Erica said, combining that with physical fitness, what can we do that's fun? The exercise doesn't always have to be, because I'm not a gym person, I'll play tennis every day if I can, but double dutch and just running around and frolicking and having fun with each other is great exercise. And then, of course, the mental part, again, being able to share our thoughts and our feelings in a more enhancing way to grow in our ability to share. So they're all interconnected. So thank you for sharing that.
I think what I love the most about this group is that for myself, I battle with mental health. So Dr. Garlington is my therapist, but I love the fact that I can come to the women's group and share those issues with other people, hear their stories that could also encourage me and empower me to be okay with dealing with my situation.
You destigmatize, because we all, including me, have had mental health challenges. I mean, when my mother died, for example, the grief that I had was debilitating. I felt like the whole world should stop. How could anybody else laugh or go on? So working through that grief and the stages of it is part of the healthy part of mental health. How we all may have times in our lives where we feel anxious or we feel depressed or we're going through some type of trauma or adversity. It's not whether you experience it, it's how you manage it. And having support and having sisterhood is an incredible way. And we don't, or I don't, fix anybody's life. If people out there that do that, they do it well, you fix your own life. I'm there to give you tools. I'm there to support you. I'm there to even love you through it. But you have to do the work. And I love the fact that these ladies and the people that I work with are willing to do the work. And I have to get up every day and do the work. So my work and my books are really about how to use it in life. It's not just a technique or one strategy. It's how do we get up every day and start our mindset with, I want to be loving. I want to be loving toward myself, and I want to be loving toward others.
And I think that's the other thing that I do love about our group is that there's no judgment. You know, we come in,
Yes.
we are totally transparent. Some of us are learning how to be more transparent and open, but I love that you know that you're sharing it with a group that you honestly feel like they love you. Even when you did the Johari's window, I mentioned to you that I love when you did it because we had already built a relationship. So we were able to accept, what somebody said about us and not take it any kind of way because we knew their heart, So it's different if, somebody on the street was just telling you how you felt. But we have such a sisterhood that we enjoy hearing each other's opinions.
Even when individuals have a fear of public speaking, I just love how you share and call me out.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes that's the only way we get to hear from you, my love.
Yeah, Erica has a way of letting everybody else share something, and then at
She
the
just
end,
hides.
she'll hope that somebody
little
won't say,
notebook.
Erica. But you've become so much more taking initiative
Yes.
to say things. And I love what Roxanne said. It reminded me of the scripture that I wanted to read. It's from Ephesians. And this is how I do my work. I pray this often, probably daily. But sometimes if I miss it, like anything, we can get back on track. But it's in my spirit. So even if I don't read it, it's in my spirit. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. Like my words have to inspire and encourage. That doesn't mean that I don't confront or challenge people if I see some incongruence, like they're saying it's cognitive dissonance. They're saying, well, I really want to do this, but their behavior is showing something else. In love, I need to bring that out, but again, in love. And be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you. So even in our work, in my work, it's important to recognize that we're going to disappoint each other. None of us are not only not perfect, but I'm not exactly like Roxanne or Sally or Erica, and they're not exactly like me. So when you don't have somebody who's exactly like you, at times we're going to see things differently.
Yes.
But doing it in love, disagreeing in love. You can disagree without being disagreeable. So again, our whole philosophy is, as Roxanne said, to come together with no judgment in a way that shows our respect and our love for one another.
And we look forward to seeing each other every month.
Every
Sometimes a
month.
month.
Every
It seems
month.
so long to get to that month,
Yeah.
but we look forward to
Never
seeing
miss
each
it.
other every month. So I thank you for the opportunity that you've given us
Yes, thank
to
you.
get together.
Well, it's mutual, so I thank you guys too.
You're stuck with us for life.
She tried to get rid of me recently, but I told her I wasn't going anywhere.
I cried when she bumped me down to twice a week or twice a month.
And I'll do that, but I always let the people make the decision. But I'll say, if you're doing really well, we can change it to every other week or once a month. And I get pushed back, and I'm okay with that. We grow so much from our interactions and from our connections, and you can too. And so I want to encourage you out there who are listening that you may not be able to, logistic wise join us, or because, how our group is formed now. But Gloria, who sets up all of my speaking engagements and my book signings, you can always, I've had groups come to me. And in fact, Roxanne had her book club come, and those group of women go through what we go through around empowerment and assertiveness and challenges and how to heal and overcome the challenges and use the tools to become stronger individuals. So anybody who's interested, at the end, we'll give out Gloria's information, and you'll also see all of the different social media platforms that we're on. So I welcome you. Any other last words that we want to share?
We love you.
I was going to say
do.
that.
I love you guys.
And we
And
love
I'm
our
so
Bloom group.
blessed, yes, to have all of you in my life.
Thank you for listening to me when I said one Bloom group was just not enough.
Yes, that's true, Sally. I forgot about that. We were supposed to just have a workshop, and we had the workshop. And then after, Sally took the initiative, and then the other women said, this can't be a one-time thing.
Yeah.
And so then we started meeting every week, and we had a beautiful Bloom brunch at the Coral House in Baldwin, where we opened it up to other women. And Roxanne led it in terms of setting up the decorations and just making
Oh, it
sure
was
we had a
beautiful.
beautiful
It was
agenda,
gorgeous.
and the food was delicious. And it was such fellowship of women joining and encouraging and inspiring one another. And we'll probably do that once a year if Roxanne will allow, because it was a lot of work. So we're going to share the work more, and we'll look forward to that. We probably had about how many women participated?
It's probably like 100 or more.
Yeah, 100 and so women. It was really a beautiful occasion, and we'll definitely do that again. So we welcome you to our Bloom Sisterhood. We welcome you to just become empowered and inspired with us. We welcome you to be more loving of yourself, first and foremost, and then loving of others. Please join us again for our next Bloom podcast.
Morning light, we bloom again. From the deep, we rise within. Down below, then we ascend. Lotus heart, lotus heart, lotus heart.